Okay, so today we're going to talk about preconception, pregnancy, and postpartum. All of these different stages, I'm going to give you the bullet points of what to focus on through each one of these stages. But first of all, no matter which stage of pregnancy or life you are at, if you don't have a solid foundation, this is the very first thing that I work on. It is the first thing that I work on in every single one of my programs, because no matter what, I have yet to find somebody who walks in with a really solid foundation. And what I mean by this is your core activating properly? Are the big muscles in your body, like your glutes and your chest, are these big muscle groups working properly? Because if not, and here's a pretty good indicator if they are not, you start to feel things like neck and shoulder pain, and you hold all of your stress up here, right? Because you're not stabilized by the right parts of your body. You get knee pain, hip pain, low back pain is a big one, especially with moms, but also things like plantar fasciitis, sciatica, split abs, so a diastasis recti, or a diastasis of the pubic bone, pelvic floor pain, incontinence, the list goes on, okay? If you don't begin exercise programs with a really solid foundation, then you become more and more vulnerable. And this gets worse and worse as you go through either a pregnancy or a recovery if you're not aware and you're not fixing it all the time, okay? So number one, it's this really strong foundation of an activated core and proper muscle activation throughout your body, okay? Let's talk about specifics for each phase. Preconception, okay? This is a very delicate dance, right? Because a lot of moms will maybe want to lose weight or get in great shape before getting pregnant, but you have to be able to balance out the stress of working out, which is a good stress, as long as it's not accompanied by a very stressful life and it's just stress. You need to have good stress, and you need to also be able to come down. It's peaks and valleys during this time, because you don't want to just be adding on more and more stress and then asking your body to get pregnant. It's just not going to want to do that, right? So while we're trying to create the healthiest capsule possible for baby, we want to have good stress, and we also want to be very clear that we need to rest, digest, recover. Because if you never allow yourself to come down, you never allow yourself the chance to do this, and you're not really creating an optimal environment for a potential new baby, okay? This is also a really great time to focus on nutrition, because once you get pregnant and you feel a little bit nauseated and feel really fatigued, you might not want to start to incorporate really great nutritional routines. So this is a good time to start to get those under your belt so that it can bring you through your pregnancy. First trimester, again, you might feel nauseated, you might be super tired, but your nutrition is key. Here's where you want to develop a mindset that everything that you put into your body becomes the raw materials to build baby. And to do it now, at the beginning of your pregnancy, to develop that mindset so that later on, when you might feel as big as a house, or your energy and motivation goes down a little bit, you've already developed this very clear mindset and picture of what you want, so that you don't go, whatever, I'm just going to eat the pizza and the candy and all of this stuff. Because this is what I always say to my kids. And the one way that I get them to eat their vegetables, right, is that whatever you eat is what makes you up. So if you eat junk all the time, then you are literally made of junk, okay? And it works for them. I hope that it works for you too. This is not a time to justify away good nutrition because you're pregnant or eating for two. None of those things are true. You are literally consuming the raw materials that are going to build your baby, and you get to choose how you want to build them, okay? This is also a great time to build some strength, build some muscle that will also carry you through your pregnancy. Again, we're working with peaks and valleys, okay? So you are working on building and that nice stress, but also the rest, relaxation, and the digestion. The second trimester, the key things here is the hormone relaxin is released in your body right from the second you get pregnant. And the reason that it gets released is so that your joints and the tissues and stuff can spread apart so that you can actually push baby out, right? Out through your pelvis. But it works on all of the joints of the body, okay? Nothing is unaffected by the hormone relaxin. So now you start to be more careful with your range of motion during squats and things like that. If you haven't laid a really great foundation and developed solid core strength and proper muscle activation, then you are slightly more vulnerable to things like diastasis recti, so splitting of the abs, and you want to watch out for it. So if you see any coning or tenting throughout your abs here, this is a good indicator that you shouldn't be really necessarily doing that exercise. Higher impact stuff like jumping and running, you might want to start to cut out, especially if you haven't done the work to build the foundation. And you want to watch out for things like planks or doing push-ups. Really be aware of that core and see if there's any tenting or discomfort happening there, and start to cut those things out as well, okay? This is a good time too to ask your doctor if you're still feeling incredibly tired about any deficiencies. So maybe getting a little bit of testing done to see if you need to start supplementing with something different. Third trimester. This is where we're prepping for pregnancy, okay? So I want you to think about a contraction, that 45 seconds of in pain, and then that really short period of time that you get to actually rest. Here's where you want to work on muscular endurance, right? Being able to deal with that stress for 45 seconds, and then you need to be able to rest as efficiently as possible, okay? So if you're going through a contraction, stress, and then when it eases up, you're still like freaking out and really stressed out, you never give yourself that opportunity to calm down. So here's where we practice that through exercise, okay? It's not necessarily about developing muscle or anything like that now. We want to be able to have that endurance, and we want to be able to have that rest. And that goes all the way through the body, through your muscles, the pelvic floor, and your mental ability to deal with stress, but also to relax, okay? Recovery. It is really important during your recovery, first of all, to have that foundation, to understand that, again, your nutrition is what builds you. It is the raw materials that are going to help you to recover. So again, at this point, if you're eating a bunch of junk, then you are recovering with kind of junk, okay? It's the easiest way to be able to put it. Secondly, be very aware of what you do. A lot of women will jump back into running or maybe playing sports or something that they're used to without that proper foundation. And your body is not the same. It has just gone through 9 to 10 months of stretching out, and it hasn't fully come back. And depending on what you were doing throughout your pregnancy, it could be really vulnerable in different areas. If you then go and start running on a core that isn't tight and put together, then you start to see things like split abs, incontinence because your pelvic floor isn't prepped for that, different issues through the pelvis, maybe some sciatica, certainly low back pain because you don't have that really solid foundation. So getting the foundation down and then using exercise in the proper way, introducing things as you are ready for them are your keys here, okay? So these are the focuses that you want to be working on through preconception, pregnancy, and postpartum, and it's certainly what is available to you if you continue on with Training Life programs. It is all very well laid out. Any questions about this, please drop me a little message in the messenger.